Okay, hey guys, this is Aggression. I'm gonna just be talking for the next few minutes, sort of about the update to the static character, what we've done in the last sort of 4 months since I made that level 13 video, where we're at now, any gear set changes, what we're looking, what the DCs are looking like, what the stats are looking like. My thoughts on the current situation with the static, and yeah, basically everything. So let's just get into this. So same as the last video, it's a DC wizard. It's Pale Master, and we'll talk sort of in depth about where I've decided to take the character. Now in the last video, I've just got it right here. I have 587 HP, just chilling in Reaper. As you can see, I've gained well over 300. I have 306 health, and then when I buff up, I break. When I buff up with rage, I break 900 health, which is kind of insane on a level 16 wizard. So we'll talk about how I do that. So I'm gonna just open up my stats, my feats first and foremost. So in the last video, we were looking at level 13. So I'm illusion and necro focused. I've taken my mental toughness and improved mental toughness for the spell points, which they are lacking on a first lifer. As you can see, I just about break 2k at level 16, which it's good, but it's I can still run out of it if I'm constantly casting, which I should be. The only new feats that I've taken is I took Enlarge and Quicken, not Enlarge and Quicken, Enlarge and Insightful Reflexes at level 15. The reason why I took Insightful Reflexes over a combat style feat is simply because it's plus 20 to my reflex saves, which is insane, and has saved me plenty of times in the last few levels as well. When I press tumble, it goes up to 76. So if I end up tumbling, I'm gaining a lot of survivability from that. I'm basically not failing a reflex save, which is really nice. We've gained some favor in the last few levels. So I've got a little bit of extra HP from that point. But all in all, not much has changed in the feat department because we've only gained a few levels. If I open up the favor tab, as you can see, we have completed every single 11, every single 12, and every single 13, including the new 13, which was Dinosaur Crisis. Really quite a fun quest. And we've just started on the 14th, and we've done Grim Barrett and Tavern Brawl, but everything on Reaper 10. We're going to just open up the Enhancement tab now, and we're going to sort of discuss the enhancement situation. Now, I am currently rocking this setup. Now, I've got my human 3 int for action surge there. I've got 1 point in Archmage for a 1 point hypnotism, as hypnotism gives -3 to will saves. No fail, so I'm opening up with that, while the Bard in our group opens up with Crushing Despair. I have 13 points in Pale Master, simply to get Core 3 for +2 Necro and +1 Intelligence. Now the main difference maker here was that I split my AP across quite a lot of trees, essentially to maximise as much main stat as possible. Now, since we've gained 12 action points since I last made a video 4 months ago, we're now looking at T5EK. And the reason why I've went T5EK is simply for 15% hit points, which can be found here. 15% HP has been absolutely massive. As well as this, the Night Transformation giving you full base attack bonus, which doesn't really matter right now. However, when I decide to go ahead and look at alternative armor options, such as if I want to swap to light, or if I even want to swap to medium, which might be the case. I've not really looked at gearing past this point, which we'll get into later on in this section. But I've went sort of full throttle into EK, and I'm currently rocking just these two T5s. I could take the extra Radiant Force Field SLA, which could be super useful in some circumstances, but as of right now, I've just left it out because I don't really preempt using it. I think this could see quite a lot of good use. However, at this point, if we talk about the stats, I could probably take a point out of Action Surge and end up taking this, and it would be super useful. And I can do that without taking a loss at all, and be absolutely fine. So I will probably just grab this after I end up looking at the video. End up finishing the video, sorry, and going and looking at this. So then I've got 13 points in Fair Dark to pick up. The main things are Greater Colour Spray, You've Got My Back, which is insane, and the +1 int. Now, a good thing to note is that You've Got My Back and Improved Shield stack with each other. So I'll go ahead and just show this right now. So if I just get out of the quest, reset the instance and go back in. So if I just step in on Reaper again. So I'm at 42 PRR. If I press shield, I get 20 PRR. Now that 20 PRR comes from the T2 in EK and You've Got My Back. So 20 PRR from a single spell is really useful, and then a 10 MRR from Night Shield, which I cast through scrolls, brings me up to 60, and which is my cap. And that is about it for enhancements. As for general progression, where am I going to go next? I'm probably looking realistically just at pushing myself up. Pale Master. Now we're going to just look at gear for the next bit. So gearing has been very much quite static, with the addition of a couple of items. Now, one thing that I farmed since January, since when I did the video on the level 13 wizard, is I got the Cloak of the Crown Blade. Now, the Heroic Cloak of the Crown Blade is really useful for the 15% HP bonus, 50% bonus to maximum HP from legendary conditioning. Now, this, as well as the shields, have these bonuses. However, getting this bonus on a cloak is super useful. It does not restrict you in any way. You know, you're not getting any ASF. You're not having to swap a weapon, swap a weapon out. You just allowed to use a cloak and get 15% HP. So in total, I have a 30% HP modifier, and with this, I'm able to break 900 HP on a Thirst Life Wizard without any weapon, any combat style feats. So just to reiterate, I'm basically running a full Mithranor set. So not much has changed there. What I have done is, before, I have updated quite a few of these orgs. So some of these items are now ML16. Now, I would not recommend ever doing this most of the time, because if you equip higher level orgs, it raises the minimum level of these items. So the Ring of Mystic Intelligence is a ML13 item, and it's now ML16 because I've stuck a Diamond of Intelligence +8 in there. So I'm going to do that. I'm in the process of sort of rejigging my gear. We've got the Sacrarium Suncatcher. I'm not too sure if I had a Reaper boost on this, but I did end up putting a +2 bonus to all ability scores on this, because it's literally the best in slot. I think it's the only profane +2 item up until level 29. So it's basically the highest source of profane DCs for 21 levels, which is, 22 levels because it's ML7. It's just got an Undying Sapphire in there, which is why it's now ML8. So it's a very, very, very good item. I've included Esoteric in here now. The reason why I swapped out and into Esoteric is the +2 artifact bonuses, bonus to DCs, and stats provided me with just, I think it was a +1 bonus to DCs, while not impacting me too much in there. It has restricted the amount of sun and moon augments that I could get, but I rejigged my gear in such a way that I think I lost 1 lunar and 2 solar, and I believe I had enough lunar slots to basically figure it out. Now there's a few pieces where I can sort of get rid of, so for example, I can get rid of my +2 artifact bonus to intelligence here. I could probably slot something else in. My mind's sort of going to actually slotting a % HP augment in there, because I've got to swap to spell absorb quite often. That's the one issue with having the cloak. So you lose that 15% HP. Now if a champ caster hits you, you don't have an extra 15% HP. Now if I swap to my jeweled cloak, I lose about 100 health. It's not ideal. But we're looking really, really, really solid. Now, just very quickly, just to show you how this affects like sort of the DCs, we're currently running around with a 59 Finger of Death. Now, if I action boost, that goes up to 60, and then if I get Bard songs, which we have constantly in the group, I have a 61 DC Finger of Death. Now that is heightened, and as well as this, my DC for Hold Monster should be much higher than that because I don't have it on. So I've got 60 Necro, 55 enchant. These should be 2 higher when I'm boosting, so we'll boost again. So this would be like a 61 Necro in the group. This would be a 56 enchant in the group, and Conjurations of 54 there, and we're at a 58 illusion. So high 50s, low 60s for DCs right now, which I think for a first lifer, it's about as high as it can get. Talking about curses, specific curses, I've got +1 Necro from curses, +1 illusion from curses, +2 int from curses, and I think I've got +1 conjuration from curses. So I'm pretty much maxed out from curses. As well as this with gear swaps, so what I've got Mantle of the World Shaper and Elite Jeweled Cloak for spell absorb swaps. Elite Jeweled Cloak is 3 extra charges over normal and hard Jeweled Cloak, if I remember correctly. So we've got 13 charges in total. At level 16, we are now eligible to farm the Pale Lavender Ironstone, which is going to be very, very useful for quests such as Toxic Treatment or anything where there's a significant amount of Force Blasts, anything with Evil Eyes, anything which has lots of low-level spells being cast at you. The way that this is being played out, and I do intend, following on from this video, to sort of upload a couple of quests that are interesting, because at this point the gameplay, which is I think is really interesting, is very similar to it's really, really, really similar to Endgame Reaper 10s. The way that at this point I'm running around with Circle of Death, Finger of Death, Phantasmal Killer, and Trap the Soul. I've got 4 insta-kill spells going. and even as a wizard, with even on a first life wizard, I'm approaching really high success rates on Reaper 10 with this, because I've geared myself to the teeth. So the way gameplay is, it feels very much like you're running a Reaper 10 with a DC caster at level 34. Very quickly, just to up my Reaper points, we're now at 20 Reaper points, so completing every single quest on Reaper 10 with VIP and voice as much as possible, trying to die as little as possible, we're at 20 Reaper points. So this is by far and away probably the most suboptimal way to grind our XP. As far as how much Reaper XP you get per quest, it depends on quest length, but we're probably approaching about the 2,500 per quest mark. Now, the speed at which we're clearing some of these quests they're reasonably fast. So the Reaper XP per minute sort of calculation is starting to go up, which I think is really interesting. And I do wonder if we'll ever reach a point where we're at comparable levels to what it would be like, you know, in endgame R10. Now, realistically, that's probably never going to be the case. But with Grim and Barrett, for example, I think we cleared it on R10 because we were taking it a bit easier in about 7 or 8 minutes, and we got I think we got about 2,700 RXP from it. So we're getting more than 300 RXP a minute, which personally I think is quite a quite impressive for heroic level standards. We're going to keep pushing through this. We're currently working our way through 14s. I do want to upload a video on one of the quests that we're going to have a look at doing. There's a few interesting ones coming up at this level, particularly Inferno of the Damned would be one that I want to have a go at, and really see what the effect that red and purple alert will have on the quest. As well as this, if we look at what's the other quest? Toxic Treatment. Toxic Treatment's going to be really cool, as well as Tower of Frost. So there's a few really fun quests, but there's a few that are going to be very quick. Like Gianthold will be incredibly easy on R10. And we have our next raid, Reaver's Fate, coming up, and this one's going to be quite interesting. I don't think it'll be as difficult as Titan Awakes, but until we step in there and find out, I don't think we'll know. So this was just a brief update video. It's about the same length as the normal one. I just wanted to update people on how this was going. If you're interested, we're currently, our streaming situation's not ideal, unfortunately. However, I do intend to start just uploading content from the at least a quest from every session that we do, just so you can sort of see the progress and see what's going on, because it's quite fun. It's really quite fun, and you know, we're pushing the boundaries and stretching first lifers as far as we can, really, with this. And yeah, sort of want to see where that goes. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, if you got to this far. And yeah, see you later. Have a good one. Bye bye.